There is a camera on you, it's watching you, it's gonna tattle on you when you're maybe not doing something right, but you're gonna get better. And B, if there is an issue and you truly didn't do something, you know you're doing the right things, it's gonna get you off the hook.
I purposely get people to their breaking point, right? Not because I don't like it, but because I know that's how you grow.
Drivers who have told me, hey, this is I've never thought I'd make this kind of money in my lifetime.
What other skill set or month-long program can you go from start to finish and get in making 50 grand a year? I don't know.
If you're thinking about a career in the trades and you want to know what employers actually look for, what the work is really like, and what nobody tells you before you get started, you're in the right place. Built in the Midwest features conversations that'll help you figure out if this path is for you.
Welcome, Josh, to Built in the Midwest podcast. Really exciting having you here today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go and dive right in. Tell me about your role at AM Express.
Well, about 2.5 years ago, got a call from a buddy of mine who I worked with in trucking previously at AM Express, and I was out of the trucking world for a little bit, and he said, hey, man, I got an opportunity over here. We're looking for someone in operations. You interested in coming back? And I was like, him and Han, and I was like, well, love the job. Let's go talk to somebody. I went in 5 minutes there. I knew it was a good spot for me to be, and spent 2 years in the operations department. And then last July, I got the call to go to human resources and safety, which is a little out of my element.
You got pulled over there.
Yeah.
No volunteers.
And it's something where I love the operations, love the, getting loads and building relationships with your crew and your drivers, but really love the human resources aspect too, and the safety part, and still building those relationships. It's been a phenomenal transition, all scary a little bit. You get into a new role and you're like, I haven't really been into this, but
absolutely.
You build that. It naturally worked.
Yeah. It's interesting because so I used to dispatch there for a while and did some HR and safety as well. And different roles like that in a trucking company, I don't think people realize it, but they're so different. It's almost not even imaginable. Yeah. Did you know what you were diving into?
No, be honest, not really. It was.
I can only imagine, because I've dabbled, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, it's night and day.
It literally went from one day dispatching to the next week having a conversation about an opportunity at this role, and I was like shaking in my boots. But as I'm just going to plow forward and go, all right, here's an opportunity. You don't let those opportunities slip away. And I think it's been a phenomenal transition. I mean, very scary going into a department where you don't have a ton of background in necessarily, but a great support system that also helps in who's around you. And that's what really was the key.
And you've been in trucking for a long time too. So that's huge. And you really have not just one role, but a couple roles. I mean, HR, safety manager, safety, especially today's day and age, that's a full-time job in itself.
It is, and it's not safety and IT's under me as well. So we have the IT department, and I'm sure we'll touch on safety and IT are just hand in hand nowadays. I mean, how much technology are in these trucks and how much the driver is just built around the safety part and in the internal camera, and something I didn't know a whole lot about going into it, but I've dug into deep dive into that stuff, and you realize the industry is all based on technology, and it's growing,
Absolutely. So, and actually that's something for a lot of people out there, they don't know exactly the latest and greatest of different safety things that are being incorporated into trucking and trucks and trailers and everything else. What are some of the biggest things that you're seeing right now, and some of the things that AM is doing to be able to be on the kind of the leading edge of this tech?
Yeah. So, it's a lot, and it's coming a long way. Even from when I first got in, it was the ELD was the big, the mandate came right in back in around 16, 17, and that would becoming the mandate. And now it's it's standard to have inward-outward facing cameras now. But not only top of that, it's the AI built into that. And that's something I didn't even really know until I got into it. And I just was down for a conference in Orlando, and safety conference. And That's really what the whole essentially is about. It's entirely safety technology. The AI that's built into our cameras they literally coach the drivers actively, and that makes a huge difference, And the drivers are getting so good and so aware of their actions on the fly.
Yeah.
There's no more. It's like instant feedback, just from everything from. Literally, when they're yawning, it'll pick it up and it'll tell them to pay attention or wake up. Pretty much, yeah.
No, a little
Everything.
yawn or
Yep.
say they reach for their phone.
Eyes off the road, anything.
Eyes off the
well,
road.
it'll catch phones for sure. It'll even caught a popcorn bag the other day that looked like a phone that someone was eating. And
Popcorn bag. Hey, put that popcorn bag down.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it's like, oh, you can have a snack maybe here. You're okay, but no, it's the advanced technology that is really making the road safer, and it's huge. It's huge for all these companies. It's amazing when you go and you only hear about. I think it was around 30% of the companies were actually both inward and outward facing. Maybe a few percentage off one way or the other, but it's not everyone, and it kind of blows my mind because of how beneficial it is for us and the driver.
No, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you sharing that because that's something that maybe they maybe haven't thought about or haven't realized all the benefits of it. And that's the other things that I've talked to previous people about where they get scared. Oh, there's a camera always watching me and Big Brother. And the fact there's cameras watching you all the time. I mean, you got traffic cameras all the time. There's not a restaurant you go into. If you go out to eat once in a while, there's a camera watching. There's not a restaurant out there that doesn't have a camera. Cameras are a part of life. And not to mention, I look at it like there was this story I heard just somewhat recently, a handful of months back, but a driver had gotten cut off and somebody slammed on their brakes, right? He rear-ended her, and because he had that camera and it showed that exact happening, he was exonerated. No ticket, no nothing. Company wasn't involved. Have you had things maybe like that in your own experience?
Absolutely. Not only accidents, multiple last year that we had in actually a span of about a week, all not our fault. Cameras involved in every which one submitted and removed from our record because other people were careless. Our drivers obviously in the right. They were either hit or, it was all we were hit. But not only that, if a driver is pulled over, maybe being accused of doing something they don't, and really as soon as they find out we have an inward facing camera, a lot of time the tune will change, and they're going to really, if they got a ticket, they're going to either give them something much lesser. We've had full dismissals down to no points. Again, I preach to these drivers when they come in, hey, yep, there is a camera on you. It's watching you. It's going to tattle on you when you're maybe not doing something right, but you're going to get better. A, you're going to get better. And B, if there is an issue and you truly didn't do something, you're doing the right things, it's going to get you off the hook. And we've had it happen. Absolutely.
I'll be darned. It's actually going to help you. It's going to help you. It's going to be there. Hey, if you're breaking the rules, this goes for anybody. Guess what? It's going to catch you. There's going to be some corrective action. But hey, if you're doing it right and you get punished for it by something else, guess what? We're going to have your back. And this is how we're going to have that. I absolutely love that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that is going on. And even what you told me, what we were talking about the other day, where, like a yawn, it'll pick up a yawn. And the actively coaching, like, hey, you're yawning. Are you getting tired? I know with my little kids, when they start yawning or rubbing their eyes, it's like, someone's getting tired. You know what I mean? Sure. But it's those little things that even adults need that. Like, oh yeah, I am getting tired, right?
Yeah. And let me take it one step further on the yawning. It's not just one yawn. The system's so smart where it realizes it has to be like 3 within 5 minutes. So you can yawn once. It's a natural human reaction, right? Maybe you're just, brain
but it knows.
Needs some more oxygen.
It knows. No, you hit that turkey.
Yeah.
It's like, no, hit that 3. It's like,
but so it gives them a chance to go ahead and have, it's not constant, you know what I mean? But it's built in it's looking for habits and patterns. And that's really the key. And it's made our safety scores go down in every category. We haven't shown any negative effects, only positive.
Only positive. Wow. No, that's amazing. And especially with, what we've seen the last few years in the trucking industry and this freight shortage that we've had. And I've talked to a lot of trucking companies kind of about the freight shortage that we've had. And it's like, man, you can't afford to have any issues because there's already enough problems in trucking. Don't add more problems on. Speaking of that, have you seen how is the freight market right now, the driver market right now? How are you guys doing that way?
So I feel like it's trending up from the reports I get back from the ops team and our operations manager. Things are starting to trend back up, and I think a lot of that is the ripple effect of what's going on in the political climate, one way or the other. You've seen the fake CDL schools are getting, slowly.
Oh, absolutely. The English language proficiency, right? There's a lot of people that can't speak English that were getting in accidents. I mean, and these have been federal laws forever, but they just weren't being enforced. And so, yeah, you're seeing a lot of that. And even the cargo theft. It's like the truck industry finally has kind of like a big brother that's going to help take care of them a little bit more. And I was just looking at Transport Topics, and it's at a 16 or 17 month high for spot rates and different things. So it seems like trucking's coming back. I feel like everyone in the industry has been beat up for a few years, but it seems like everything's coming back to where we all want it. That's for sure. Speaking of drivers and different things, and one thing, first of all, I want to say thank you for hiring the school's new students. All right, it means a lot. It's one thing that there's a handful of bigger companies that still won't hire right out of schools because of the risk and stuff. And so if you wouldn't mind speaking to that, because you guys have a phenomenal training program, you got great trainers. How do you take someone right out of school that's still very green and get them to where they could get their own truck potentially?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is my favorite part of the job, honestly, is taking someone, including lots of students out of your guys' school, and turning them into top performers. I brought a list, and I'm going to talk to a class here in a little while here. And one of the big things I'm going to talk about is how I've got about 70 students or former students that are in the top 12 mile getters already from last year. Within a year, they are getting massive amount of miles, and it's nothing to do with anything, no favoritism. It's straight up, these guys are willing to work and go to work. And you took the words right out of my mouth. Great trainers and a great program. Shout out to those guys and girls out there that are doing that for us. I mean, they're out on the road for 6 weeks with someone. It's uncomfortable. You're bunked up. It's obviously paid, both, and it's all paid, but it's an uncomfortable. But
sure, absolutely.
What makes it comfortable is you're learning on the fly. I mean, it's you're learning all the situations. It's we know when they come out of the school, they can go down the road. It's all the other little things. It's the shippers, the receivers, the time it takes, the issues, the traffic, all this other stuff. And we put them in a truck, and by the time they come out, we want them almost bored with that training and ready to go. And confidence is huge. I mean, I sit down with every single trainee when they're done and right in my office, and I say, hey, where did we miss anything? What can we do better? Anything you need? And if it's more training they need, cool. If it's not and they have any concerns, we're going to go over it. And we've seen such a phenomenal turnout. I mean, just some of the great people and great stories. I mean, you got, drivers who have told me, hey, this is I've never thought I'd make this kind of money in my lifetime. I mean, just the opportunity that we allot them is a phenomenal feeling.
It's huge, and it makes you feel good. And I've always said that for a long time. The intrinsic reward with what I get to do. I get to take people that were living in a box, right? Or didn't have a permanent home, or that maybe was in jail for a couple of years over something, that they did when they were younger. I mean, who knows? But I get to really take people and elevate them and give them great futures, and companies like yours enable that to happen. And so, like I said, I really appreciate what you guys do. You've given so many of the school students great opportunities. And like I said, we're a part of that puzzle, and you guys finish them off and have a great finishing program. And now I still talk to some that have been there numerous years, still doing good, still trucking, loving the opportunity that you gave them.
I have people that came out of yours, and I reciprocate that back to you guys. Without you guys being there and doing the work you're doing, we wouldn't have this great pool of drivers to help. And
it truly is a win-win.
It is, and it's a win-win for them too. I have trainees coming up to me now that have come out of your program that want to start training. They just love the experience so much. They've made a phenomenal, rapport with their trainer, and they network. And again, we have great people that work for our company. I mean, phenomenal people. All of our drivers are I can't say one's not extremely polite, helpful, courteous, to the point where I got drivers coming up, just ideas, trying to network with each other, building up
Wow.
bringing everyone up.
That's
I know
huge, yeah.
it is
Yeah.
huge. And a lot of these guys came out of your program and it was just, hey, they see that it's like almost like they saw
That's
the,
huge.
writing on the wall. It's like, hey, this, and then, I try to listen, actively listen to them,
Yeah.
and they have the ideas. They teach me as much as I feel like I teach them a lot of times.
You get a great team like that, and then you're building each other up, And and you know me, I'm a pusher, right? I push people, and I purposely get people to their breaking point, right? Not because I don't like it, but because I know that's how you grow. If I can get you uncomfortable, if I can get you out of your box, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you like a drill sergeant, right? It's not the teachers that are the nicest that you learn the most from. It's the teachers that push you, that challenge you, that that help you get over those hurdles. Those are the teachers. I know. I mean, I hated some of my teachers, but looking back, I'm like, man, the ones that were the hardest, that's probably where I grew the most, honestly. And so I tried to be nice and friendly and everything, but I also try to push as well and get these students to get the most out of themselves. That I think is important.
Get them uncomfortable.
Uncomfortability
is an important thing, and it's people
absolutely.
stay comfortable for too long. They're going to have maybe develop some bad habits or not realize what they can actually do. And that's
Absolutely
phenomenal. Yeah.
What are some good kind of advice that you can give new students that are getting into the trucking industry, or maybe just random individuals out there thinking about the trucking industry, as far as what it takes to be successful in the trucking industry?
I would say the main thing is to have a goal. I always ask, and I'll come in and ask this: what's your long-term plan? What are you going to do? Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? A lot of people just come in and jump in a truck and don't really have a plan, and they maybe burn themselves out or kind of just get stagnant or whatever. I said, what's your plan? What are you thinking? What are you going to are you just going to drive, van? You got a long-term plan? Do you want to, work yourself to a different area? I always recommend having a plan and having some kind of path. You're spending a lot of effort, time to get trained, a lot of money to get in this industry. And it's we've come to a part where this is skilled labor now. Again, this was touched at this conference I went to, phenomenal. We're at a part where trucking is skilled labor. So you have a skill out there. What are you going to do with that skill? And I have that conversation, I feel like, with everyone. And I would tell everyone, if you're looking into getting a CDL, you're looking into driving, have a plan, have a good plan in place. It might not be something you want to put a timetable on, but have a goal to work towards. And I think you'll see yourself, have something to work for and better yourself, and you won't get burnt out. It's not an easy job. And I'm sure you've touched that. You touched on that a lot. I've heard you say it. It's a tough job. It's a tough world, but it's rewarding. You can jump in and make a good living right away. There's very little roles, I feel like, outside of the trades. You can do that right away, where there's just
absolutely
you control your destiny.
What other skill set or month-long program can you go from start to finish and get in making $50,000 a year? I don't know. I can't
50,
think of
60,
yeah.
70,
Well,
how much?
well, exactly.
Yeah,
You start here, but there's so much room for growth, and maybe that's something you could talk about. Is that growth? Because I've seen guys at your company go from dry van to flatbed to tanker. Talk about that. There's a lot of different opportunities within the trucking industry.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things that we have is we have very diverse roles. We have a local fleet, we have a van fleet, we have a flatbed, we have a tanker. We even do a little bit of like refrigerated control temps, some heavy haul. So very diverse owner operators. And that's the thing. And that's why I like to have that conversation. Hey, what do you look? We have all these opportunities. You want to work towards something? Yeah, I do have a couple guys right now that have just done this. They're getting into the flatbed end of things, and they're moving from van to flatbed. Just had 3 drivers do 1 + 2 more do that. Now I have a trainee that we took on last year. He's actually going to be training for tanker here soon. And it's non-hazmat, but maybe the long run he's going to look into some hazmat down the road. I understand that might not be us, but at least we put a path on this guy, and you know what I mean?
And he's hauling, non-hazmat tanker.
Yeah.
And those are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard those are non-baffled tankers too, right? Unbaffled tankers.
Yeah.
All right, which is harder than any fuel or LPG tanker, because all those have baffles. When it comes to hazmat tankers, have baffles. So that's a whole nother boulder ride. But I imagine there's it's a little bit more of a challenge. They get paid a little bit more, and there's more opportunity there.
Yep, absolutely.
So.
Yep, the pay is completely. Yeah, not completely different, but it's, there's more rewarding for that. It's more training, more responsibility. You're obviously hauling a liquid and, so.
Absolutely. I love the fact you're talking about the goals too. And I think that's so important. That was one of the first questions I asked all the students at the start of class, and give them their name, where they're from, and what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your CDL? What's your plans? And, when you hear the guy say, I don't know, we'll see. I'm like, no, you got to give me something. Like, you got to start thinking about that, right? It's like that senior in high school. Hey, what do you want to do when you graduate? I don't know. Well, you know what? If you don't know
take a year
where
off.
you're going to go, guess what? Any path will take you there, right? You got to have some focus. What's that saying? Where focus goes, energy flows. And so, thinking about, and I tell the students, think about what you want to do. All right. Do you want to get into, dry van or hazmat or local or regional or over the road? Or, do you want to see the country? You want to get paid to see the country. I mean, and that's where OTR, there's nothing like it. All right. You want to go, through the Grand Canyon or through the Badlands and the Dakotas or the Rocky Mountains, whatever. Guess what? You can get paid to do that. Right. And you can see this gorgeous country of the United States. And I've been able to see a lot of it because of that. But what other I guess challenges do you see new drivers getting into the industry? What challenge do you see them having to overcome maybe that that other people can kind of expect?
Well, I would say the biggest one is the hours they're putting in. If they're not used to maybe working, 60, 70 hours a week, I would say that's a pretty big challenge for them to get them, and they get used to it. Don't get me wrong, but I would say I always say try to start them off a little bit. We always try to start them off slow.
Lean them into it a little bit.
Those 10, 11-hour driving days right off the bat,
it's
stretching
tough.
them out.
It's tough, absolutely.
Really, one of the biggest things, and this came from the conference I just got back from, is parking too. I mean, if you're getting into any sort of driving you're not home nightly, you're going to run into some parking issues. And it's being addressed somewhat, state level, maybe even federal level. They've talked about opening some stuff, and that's great and good. And there's just some really hard places to try to park. And then, working on trying to figure out your logs, trying to do split sleeper sometimes because there might be some issues that pop up, whether it's a delay in loading, receiving. All that stuff it can be overwhelming. And that's why I always every driver's got my cell phone. Every driver's got their dispatcher cell phone. It's reach out and call. I always try to follow up as much as I can with even a text, a call. Hey, how's it going? Anything we could do for you? How we doing? Just to be in a support system, because I think the big thing is getting overwhelmed pretty quickly can happen.
Absolutely.
And we have a great team at AM Express, from everyone from the guy who's been there for 5 days to the people who've been there for 25 years.
People there that can help if you need the help. And
it's a team.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you're not stuck on an island or anything like that.
Yeah.
That was something I remember when I was trucking, having my trainer's number was the best thing in the world, because I get to a specific consignee or a shipper or whatever, and I'd be like, man, how do you get into here? Or it's in downtown Chicago. I'm like, I don't want to hit a low bridge. What's the best way to get in? Oh yeah, take this, take that. Don't go to the entrance on Google, because the entrance on Google is the whatever employee entrance. You gotta go around back to the trucking entrance. Always look for shipping and receiving, right? But you kind of learn those things. But getting overwhelmed is definitely a part of it. And one thing, like kind of what we talked about earlier, is I like to tell people that it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. That's okay. That's a part of learning, right? And it takes a lot to learn about this trade. And I always love to tell people after they graduate, get their CDL, I was like, well, your learning has just begun. Like, what do you mean? I just, drove all over the place. I was like, well, that's the first step, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the first step. We'll take you to here and get you that CDL, but there's so much more once you hop on the road to learn and to do once you get out there, which is huge. One of the other things that I want to talk about is education. And right now, and for the last 30 years, there's been such a huge push for college and college university. And now we have the highest student debt that we ever had. We had all this. And, I think it's important for people to realize that the trades are a great viable option with minimal student debt. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I even, I don't have a college education. I've worked my way up, and I would say for anybody, I wish there were more opportunities like you're offering people. When I was younger,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot. There was no recruiter coming to see us and
No.
give us these opportunities. And I feel like, the majority of people I know are in some sort of trades area, and they're making a good living without, again, student debt. And again, that's necessary for a lot of roles
Sure,
in life. But,
absolutely.
But if you're looking to get into this, any sort of trades industry, it's very rewarding as far as, infrastructure. We're growing as in every which way. Look at the roads. There's always something to be done out there, and they need those people. And you can
Absolutely.
speak on how quickly you can get into this and be successful at something.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't have the confidence to do it, talk to somebody. I would recommend it, and go out and seek. There's so much information out there. At this point you can, YouTube website, Midwest, shout out. You guys are doing
There's
literally
a lot of stuff. Even this right here, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
It's about educating
Yeah.
people about these different trades, about these different industries, but that's also, with all the information out there, it's almost a negative in a weird way because it's almost too much. And it's information overload. And I think, you can have that confirmation bias with whatever opinion you have. Someone else is going to agree with you. And so, but like you said, reaching out to a professional in the industries, reaching out to somebody that is in the industry and does it. And the other thing about the trucking industry, which I really love, is there's over 200 different divisions of the trucking industry. There's local and regional and over the road. There's dry van and reefer and Conestoga and hauling heavy equipment. The tanker, the list just goes on and on and on. And it's one of those things that there's kind of different fits for different people. So do you see like a better fit for somebody that's maybe OTR versus maybe local or regional or even like dry van or flatbed or tanker? Is there a better fit that you see for those different divisions?
Yeah, sometimes like individually for sure. And again, really my favorite part of the job is just the interaction with human beings and people. As soon as I start talking to someone and I kind of start, back and forth, it's like I can see this guy's potential is, to the whatever they want to do. So I absolutely, if someone comes into this and they might be like come out of the school and they're very green and they just don't know, it's like, well, hey, check this out. Look at this. It comes to flatbed. It's hard to recruit flatbedders right now, but the pay is there. You know what I mean? It's
why is
physical.
that?
It's physical. It's physical. And
okay.
we live in, I think the climate we live in, but I think it's more responsibility. It's a little more training, and we do have flatbed train. We train for flatbed too. And it's, there's guys that come in, and I get a lot of military guys that come in, former military, current military. That's what they want to do. And I love that. And they want the challenge. It's a little more challenging, a little more work, but they jump right in it. And I see it right away. Even when I first start talking, kind of.
They talk about it. Hey,
I can spot a flatbed.
Give me that hard load. All right.
Yeah.
I want to work out and get paid to work out.
It's a prideful division. Honestly, those guys are some of the most prideful. This is what I'm doing. I don't even want to look at a van, and every now and then they might have to. But like they're very proud.
Swinging doors.
That's what they. Yeah, that's what they call it. They're not doing that, and they're throwing straps and they're tarping and hey, I love it. I again challenge them. Hey, what can we do? What can we get done this week? Everything's good. We're safe, right? We're the way we're making sure they have the right. Accessories, everything, but
absolutely.
It's something we've been trying to grow on as our flatbed division. Where we live,
no,
it makes sense.
It makes sense, and there's a lot of lumber being hauled, and a lot of steel coils coming out of Canada. There's so much flatbed. But no, I talked to a flatbed driver recently with you guys, and that's what he said. He's like, I get paid to work out. He's like, when you're hustling 150 pound tarps over top and throwing straps, and he's like, it requires a little bit more mental acuity because you got to know, all right, how many straps do we have? where we're going to put those straps, where's the load going to be. We got to not just strap it down, but tarp it down depending on the load.
Yep.
And you probably know more about that than I do, but I've been learning. But it's interesting.
You got it down pat.
What's that? Yeah, no, you know that. But,
Budgies,
I'm starting to figure it out. You see enough loads, and it's
edge
like
protectors. They have to think about all that stuff.
Yeah.
What is my reload? Is it brick? Is it something completely different? Because then you're looking at a bunch of new set of tools and making sure they got all the right stuff. And yeah,
absolutely. On to endorsements. So this is something that I get asked from students all the time. They say, "What endorsements do I need?" All right, what endorsements do you guys require?
We don't require any other than obviously Class A CDL, but I always recommend getting a tanker endorsement for sure. Go get as many as you feel comfortable with. I don't think that hurts anybody.
No.
But I would say tanker just because you just never know. I mean, because even if you're going to be a van driver, there's loads that are tanker endorsed van loads are out there, and a lot of drivers don't know that. As soon as they come into a lot of times the recruiters during the class they'll come in and do a visit with me, and I'll sit down and say, hey, what do I'm going to go get my CDL. Hey, are you getting your tanker? Yep, I plan on. Great, awesome. And if they're not, you say, hey, well, if you're going to haul van, there's some, haul the totes of liquid. There could be other things where it require a tanker. Yeah. Just a good thing to have. And then they can have that in their back pocket if they need it. So I always recommend whatever they feel comfortable with getting. That's
good to know. Yeah. So the advice out there, get that tanker endorsement. Listen, because even dry van, it's not a tanker per se, but it's qualified as a tanker when you're hauling those big, like 250-gallon totes of liquid and stuff. It's going to qualify. So that tanker endorsement. And what about hazmat? No hazmat for you guys.
Nothing for us.
Not right now anyway, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
And then doubles, triples. I don't think anything there either.
But I see a lot of people ask about them, and I say, go get them. Why not? It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Nope.
It doesn't hurt. What about fast cards and TWIC cards?
TWIC, anybody who's in tank, TWIC is going to be pretty much required at some point because
TWIC cards is okay. So and just to tell people what the TWIC card is, it's a transportation worker identification card. If you're going in and out of any ports or anything, you need that TWIC card.
Well, even a lot of the places that are load and tanker require a TWIC card. So they'll want those. It'll just eliminate some of the problems if there's any escorts needed and some of that stuff. So. Yeah, I believe all of our tanker drivers are TWIC.
Require that TWIC card. Okay, see, I didn't know that. So, and I know there are some different things, and I know that time was that a background check and making sure you didn't leave your fingerprints in any crime scene or anything. Which I watched Dexter, so I'm pretty good about that.
To get it, it's pretty easy. You just fill out a form and go down and get your fingerprinted, and the paperwork comes back good. You're good to go. It's not a whole lot of It's just $100 and some dollars, I think, or something. It's nothing.
And
then
you have that clearance to be able to do that and that background check. What about the fast card, like going in and out of Canada or Mexico? Do you guys do anything with that?
We don't know nothing. Nothing over the border. No, I don't know.
It's too much of a pain in the butt. Yeah,
that could be one way to say it for sure.
That's what I've heard from a handful of cars. Like, no, we don't even deal with that, and even. Going down and around Canada, it's not worth going across through Windsor or anything,
that's what no one asked to deliver there. They just want to cut across Canada.
Exactly. There's nothing that goes there. Right? They just want to cut across and save a couple hours.
Yeah, that's usually the plan. That's usually what the driver's argument is like, hey, we should get there Canada, so we can cut across. Like, I get it. I think they're paying us to go around though. So no worries.
No, exactly. It's like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. A couple extra miles. But I've heard some horror stories of guys being stuck at the border for 8, 9, 10 hours if they didn't have the fast card because they got to run the background checks and do all this, and you had a DUI from 20 years ago. Now you can't go into Canada, and so it can be a real pain in the butt. Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, I really enjoyed our conversation. All right, once again, Josh with AM Express out of Escanaba, a company that comes into the school on a regular basis to recruit students, and once again, we really appreciate that. But I want to be respectful of your time. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, other than I appreciate what you guys do for us, and it's been a phenomenal, in my words, a partnership between us. Not a absolutely real one, but a respect partnership. And it's again, the trainees we get are some of our starting to become our top performers. And now we're starting to look at trainees, starting to want to become trainers down the road. You know,
Wow.
we have some requirements from our insurance that take some time, and they know that, but that's okay. We had that conversation. I just had that conversation last week with the driver. Hey, what do I got to do here? Well, here's the guidelines. Let's sit down and talk about it here in a little while and give these guys and girls we have an opportunity.
So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe I can, I'm going from being green to being a trainer, and it's something I can look forward to doing later on.
It's
So,
all about opportunity. And
absolutely.
That's what we love to do, is give people opportunities. Again, just some of that rewarding stuff, especially since I've transitioned over to hear some of our drivers talk about the different things they've got to do, whether it's like travel and get paid. A lot of times that's it. I mean, I just had a driver in my office this morning, pumped about going to Arizona. It's like, oh, all right, he's leaving tomorrow night when he usually leaves on Saturday.
He's excited about it. He's like,
elated. Yeah,
especially with the winter this year up here, that anywhere but the UP in the winter time, it just finally starting to get some nice weather. But yeah, no, great company, great trainers, great team. And if anyone wants any information, we'll put the link down to AM Express down there as well. And they have some great opportunities and some great divisions. So we'll put that information down there. But thank you again for your time, Josh.
Thank you.
And we're going to look forward to seeing you at the school here soon to recruit.